and monitoring, and it'd probably be a good idea for Brazil to pay closer attention to that because it's going to be a worldwide situation. And then we have an international commitment to reduce the carbon footprint in the transportation sector. They will build the market for ethanol. How do we gain international support? We recognize the power of land use in reversing the buildup of greenhouse gases. We have to understand that there are three major carbon sinks in the world: trees that grow on land, soil, a vital part of land, and oceans depend on good land use for health and the ability to absorb CO2. Recognize that all living things, directly or indirectly, live on the land. Accept the reality that the 6 F's, food, feed, fiber, fuels, fertilizer, and feedstock for chemicals, are now inseparable. They are totally dependent upon optimized land use, vitalized soil, and water availability. Embrace the economic biomass productivity of the tropical lands around the world. That's where we can grow an enormous amount of biomass. Recognize that biomass is uniquely egalitarian. Anyone with access to land and water, having the right tools, equipment, and knowledge, can strive for a better life. Deal with the reality that land use and water are governing factors, and that healthy forests are essential for climate protection and water production. We have to bring healthy forest, and I really want to focus on forest, to the rescue. We've got to stop deforestation and start reforestation. Brazil and the U.S. accepting the reality that climate change and deforestation are international threats to national and energy security, and we should therefore commit major resources, including our respective departments of defense and military, to satellite imagery, mapping, quantifying land use, bringing human and natural order to forest in Brazil and the U.S. first, and then assist the rest of the world in joining in. We have to embrace the concept of indirect land use as being vital, but only if it's based on best available science and modeling and peer-reviewed by the world's best scientists. Indirect land use in establishing the carbon footprint for biofuels must be equally vigorous for all competing fossil fuels and take into consideration national, energy, homeland, economic, environmental, and health security. Recognizing the criticality of land use and water, other bioenergy industries, biopower, biothermal, biofertilizers, and bio-based products must also be fairly subjected to the indirect land use issue. I can assure you that in the United States, those are rapidly growing industries. Forests, particularly rainforest, every tree must have a quantified economic value. Carbon credits must be established for trees and soils, no matter about the complexities. We have to do this. It's a matter of international and energy security. So as a person, as chair of the Biomass Coordinating Council of ACOR, I've taken upon myself to take a 5-pronged approach. First is best available science and modeling technologies. Second, uniformly applied methodologies, fossil and renewable. Inclusion of all externalities, that is, public health and security factors. Scientific and technological advances, research and development implementation of, ever more productive seeds and crops, optimized farming and tilling practices, biological and natural fertilizers, biofuels used in farm vehicles and equipment, advanced harvesting equipment, advances in transportation and storage systems, advances in vehicle and fueling facilities. Efficiency, maximize efficiency of conversion technologies, minimize the use of fossil fuels, continue the advance of integrated systems, which boost productivity, increases product diversity and profitability, supports food, feed, fiber, fuel, fertilizers, and feedstocks for chemicals, and works synergistically with all renewable energy technologies. Then we have to bring wasted lands into productive use, land suffering from infestations, contamination, or misuse, lands under power lines, railroads, highways, and road rights-of-way. The benefits of society are generates more sustainable biomass, improves wildlife and nature preserves, protects watershed, wetlands, and riparian buffers. And then we have to heal the forest and the people. We need to put selected prisoners in the forest. We need to put youth at risk in the forest. And we'll use the Nevada model. There we take prisoners who are not a threat to society, put them in 10 conservation camps, train them to be foresters, to work in the forest, to clear out the forest underbrush, plant trees, and convert the residue into a biomass product. And then we need veterans. In the United States, we have about 200,000 veterans that we can't use all of them, of course, but we're going to work a program with veterans in green jobs to train them to be the leaders in this whole process, because we've got over 300,000 prisoners who are not a real threat to society, and we're going to be striving to get those folks working effectively in the woods and the forests as we're doing in Nevada. Next steps. We must start now to quantify the value of every threatened tree in the Amazon rainforest as a personal commitment to save a tree and plant a tree. Now, this is where my idealism cuts in, but I feel compelled to do it. I will commit 10% of my annual ACORE salary to the Alliance de Terra and challenge my good friend, Joe Velasco, to get UNICA to do their very best. And I commit to do everything within my capability to encourage President Obama during his next visit to Brazil to join with President Lula in resolving President Clinton's question, how do we do this job? And I challenge Joel and UNICA to work with President Lula to take the lead in this vital work. I challenge UNICA to work with the Spirit of Hispaniola to launch the first in the world flight training program using sugarcane ethanol in the Dominican Republic, and to use that class of pilots to be in the air honoring President Obama's first visit to Brazil in recognition of the U.S. and Brazilian commitment to develop ethanol industries in the DR and Haiti, and President Clinton's new role in the island of Hispaniola. So in closing, I actually have 5 minutes left, but Marines always are ahead of schedule. I'm asking each citizen in the lands of the free and the homes of the brave, that is Brazil and the United States, to make historic efforts permitted by the advances in science and technology to rebirth the spirit of Hispaniola that faltered from its original birth and its original intentions almost 500 years ago, to demonstrate what two land-rich democratic nations can do by working together. It's going to take teamwork, particularly the United States and Brazil, to build that bridge, and then build a bridge from the Americas throughout the world. And I'd like to focus on Hispaniola, Haiti, and the DR. So thank you very much for your patience with an old man. As I said, U.S. Marines look at things from the bottom up. The point that I would really like to leave with you is to recognize that in order for us to succeed in what we're doing, we have to give opportunities to every ordinary person to do extraordinary things. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Bill, for your very objective recommendations and for your focus on how to do. This is one of the things we have to get always focused in. And I would particularly consider your concern with bringing wasteland to production use. If you can do that, this is one of the first things we have to do. We are trying to do it in Brazil, in the West. The amount of wasted land is too much, it's too big. So this is one of the key points for us here in Brazil. But overall, I think it was a very, very nice summary that you have made in your recommendations. Our last speaker is André Nassar, which is, André, eu vou falar em português com você, o Diretor-Geral do ICONE, que é o Instituto de Estudos e Comércio e Negociação Internacional. O André tem um background em agronomia na USP, o doutorado na Faaij, USP em economia, foi pesquisador em Cornell e começou, eu me lembro, uma brilhante carreira na Copersucar, nós éramos colegas na época lá, trabalhando em avaliação de mercados de açúcar e álcool, e foi membro do Grupo Técnico de Negociações Agrícolas na rodada de Doha, ele tem trabalhado bastante nisso, é consultor do Banco Mundial, do Banco Interamericano de Desenvolvimento, e tem trabalhado extensamente no uso da terra no Brasil. O André hoje é um dos maiores especialistas que a gente tem no mundo em termos dos modelos, da simulação e dos erros no tratamento nas previsões de mudança de uso da terra. Então, eu só vou lembrar ele severamente, porque ele não estava aqui no início, que ele tem 15 minutos para falar.
Não, vou falar em 15 minutos.
Okay. Mas eu vou pedir que você concentre muito na última parte, onde você trata dos exemplos de utilização das metodologias, porque isso é um problema sério que nós temos que enfrentar agora.
Tá.
Obrigado.
Obrigado, é um prazer estar aqui. Eu vou assim, tem umas coisas que são semelhantes ao que o Joel falou, então vou pular. Umas ideias são semelhantes ao que o André falou, então também vou pular. Então eu vou administrando esse negócio, né? Não, o que a gente tem feito aqui, fundamentalmente aqui no Brasil, é assim, é uma espécie de reação positiva, né? Com todos esses movimentos que aconteceram na União Europeia, com a diretiva europeia e com toda a situação americana que o Joel explicou, a gente se deu conta, felizmente, muito antes dessas legislações saírem, né, porque a gente começou a trabalhar nisso em 2007, ou seja, mais ou menos quando a coisa estava começando a acontecer, que, primeiro, estava todo mundo olhando para o Brasil como o país que tem um dos maiores estoques de terra. E, segundo, o Brasil como grande produtor de, no caso, etanol, também de soja, porque o biodiesel também é importante, mas, sobretudo, etanol. Então, a gente se deu conta que que o Brasil ia ficar meio central nesse debate, tanto nos Estados Unidos quanto na Europa, e é verdade. Tanto é que, se a gente pega o Draft Regulation que o EPA soltou, toda a explicação sobre a análise que foi feita só cita o caso brasileiro ali, né? Depois, no relatório específico, aparecem os outros países, Argentina, Indonésia, todos os outros países, mas está feita toda uma situação, deve ter umas 20 páginas ali de explicação sobre o Brasil. Na Califórnia, a mesma coisa, quer dizer, foi tudo feito em cima do etanol de cana brasileiro. E na Europa também, quer dizer, na Europa está todo mundo querendo entender o que está se passando, né? E o que acontece? Quer dizer, se criou esse conceito que o André comentou, que é um conceito simplista, né? Que você basicamente mede as emissões de CO2 associadas à produção de biocombustíveis, com o negócio do efeito indireto, que você põe tudo junto, mas as ferramentas que existem aí são ferramentas ainda que são muito simplistas, elas não representam bem, vamos dizer assim, a dinâmica do setor agrícola dos países todos que estão envolvidos. Daí porque o Joel colocou aquela tabela, ele não quis explicar aquilo, mas, quer dizer, a gente faz alguns cálculos básicos, a gente transforma uma emissão positiva de efeito indireto na cana numa negativa, certo? Dependendo das hipóteses, você diz que o balanço de emissões da cana, por efeito indireto, ele é negativo e ele não é positivo. Vocês podem dizer assim, você está viajando, você está errado, não é negativo. Mas o que a gente está mostrando é que você sai de um negócio